Afternoon. Good afternoon. Let me make sure my audio is on and everything is good. Yeah, look like I'm going here. And looks like I'm going there. Good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. Oh, I got to change that. Sorry, I had to update my title there. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. Robert Willis. Always the first one. And I appreciate that, Robert. If you come on in, just say hi. Just say hi to a brother. Uh, let me turn Lincoln down here. Turn Lincoln down. Uh, yeah, turn Lincoln down there. Welcome. Well, I guess I welcome me back to the show. I've been away for a few days, and I'm back. I'm back, and there's so much to. Well, not really so much, but I didn't really get a chance to discuss PG Sittenfeld. What's up, Anthony? I didn't get a chance to discuss PG Sittenfeld's conviction and how I feel about it. And that's a big deal. I think that's a big deal. And if my understanding is correct, the feds are kind of hinting that they might not be done. That we might see something else come out of that. I think they're just talking. Sometimes you say stuff like that and you hoping to scare somebody straight. Like if you out there doing something, you might want to stop because the feds might be looking. But yeah, it's crazy. But I enjoyed my time out in Arizona. Like I said, I didn't do much. Told you I wasn't gonna do much. Mrs. Livingston was in conferences a great portion of the time. It was hot. It was hot. It hit like 122 degrees while I was out there, like a real 122 degrees, not heat index, 122 degrees. I don't know what the index was. They never did that, like on the news, like how here, we're like, oh, it's 95 outside, but it feels like it's. Well, no, they don't do that. They just say, it's 115. It's 112. I think we were like 2 degrees off the record. We were like 2 degrees off the record while I was there. And I have to say, it wasn't too bad. Like it wasn't pleasant. Because my wife kept saying, oh, you like this. And I'm like, I won't say that I like it. I'm not going to say that I like it, but it's not horrible. There is apparently a big difference. That 122 felt better than 97 here. And yes, it's because of the humidity. And I always, oh, it's a dry heat. And I'm like, whatever, heat is heat. No, it is a dry heat. It is different. And so, yeah, it made a difference. But 122 degrees was not pleasant, but it wasn't horrible. I was like, I could rock with 122 degrees every now and then. Every now and then. The only thing that was bad about it is the breeze, the wind. The wind was the worst part of it because, it's like somebody blowing a blow dryer in your face. Like it's not a cool wind. It's like somebody turned. Like you ever stood next to a bus or something like that, and the air off of the engine was hitting you? That's what the wind feels like there. And it got really windy. And I was like, oh, this is terrible. This is terrible. But other than that, I was like, I wish the wind would just stop blowing. If the wind would stop blowing, 122 wasn't horrible. Again, it wasn't good. I'm not saying it was good, but it wasn't horrible. But okay, that's enough about that. Oh, and only one other thing about the show. I did do. I'm sorry, I'm missing all of the people that I should be shouting out because y'all coming in and saying hi, and I want to say hi. Myosha, hello, Myosha. Did you get darker out there? You look the same. I don't think I got any darker. No, I don't. TC, thank you. It's good to be back. McConnell, what's up? Let's see. I think I said what's up to Anthony already. Got McConnell, yeah, 122. LaDonna, good afternoon. She says, hey, everybody. Olympia, good afternoon, Olympia. Dwayne, good afternoon. David, good afternoon. Brenda, good afternoon. Jerica, good afternoon. I also wants to know, did Mrs. Livingston enjoy the trip? This all depends on how you look at it. She enjoyed the fact that there was air conditioning, and she really used the air conditioning. Oh my God, I was freezing. But yeah, she don't like the heat at all. So that aspect of it, not so much. Brenda, oh, and there was another aspect that she didn't enjoy. Maybe I'll talk about that in a second. Tina, good afternoon. Michelle, good afternoon. Shahira, thank you for the welcome back. Brent, I don't know if I said Brent yet. Richard, Will says we're almost there, y'all, to the weekend, that is. All right. Kim and Kenneth, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I had two other issues with the trip. I just share this stuff just because I'm here. Why not? One wasn't really my issue. It was Mrs. Livingston's issue. They lost her bags. They still haven't found them. Like, they lose your bags. And then usually later on that evening, they turn up somewhere or something like that. Nah, they lost her stuff. And like they kept trying to make it like it was our fault. She was getting heated. I was like, it's all right, we just have to go buy you some new stuff. We just got to go buy you some new stuff. And, that was what we ended up having to do, which she hated. Not that she hates shopping, but where we were at, they didn't have, or at least we didn't find like an enclosed mall. All of the malls were out. So you had to, go into the store and then come out and then walk to the next store. And she hated that because it was like 122 degrees that day. So she hated that. But yeah, they'll give you a clothing voucher. Did they? They did not. What they said that they do, which I guess different airlines do it differently. But what they said they do is you go buy what you need. And then, we'll put in a claim and then they'll reimburse you once the claim gets put in. But they couldn't put the claim in for like 5 days or something like that. So luckily, she's one of those careful people. So she carries all the important stuff, papers and whatnot. She won't let that out of her sight. So that was in her carry-on. But all of her clothing was gone. And as the bags are coming up, mine came up. Boom. We waited. That was it. And we like, well, actually, I think somebody took it. They sent us the little sign. I hate airports, by the way, but the little sign said that we should go to Carousel 4. We should go to Carousel 4 to get our bags, but our bags was coming up on Carousel 2. And I'm sitting there like, where's our stuff? And let me go around and look at all the other carousels. And then we were on Carousel 2. But by the time we got there, a number of the bags had came up. I believe somebody just took her shit. But it's all right. It's all right. So yeah, we had to go out and buy her new stuff, which she was not happy with any of it because we felt rushed. And she was like, I just got to get something Southwest. I just got to get something. Jerica says, which airline? We flew Southwest. So I just got to get something. And I think I was more frustrated because I don't like shopping, but I knew we had to go shopping the entire, really the evening that we got there. And then the next day, that was all shopping. And that was just supposed to be our kick it time. Like, we had things that we had intended to do, places that we intended to go. So we didn't get to go to a number of the places that we wanted to go because we had to spend those first 2 days shopping because she couldn't just wear anything to this conference for her business. So, and then when they sent her the claim, they had all the information wrong. When I say all the information, every piece of information that they had written down, it's like they took it from somebody else. They had us living in Dallas. They had, of course, the wrong street address. They had the wrong name. They had just everything on the thing was wrong. But she'll figure it out. She'll figure it out. She doesn't necessarily want me to deal with it, but she'll figure it out. But yeah, it messed up the first 2 days, and then she was in conferences the whole time. I got a chance to drive around and kick it. And then the only other bad experience I had in the entire trip was there was one nasty TSA agent, Caucasian guy, a little heavy set, spiky blonde hair, looked like he really wanted to be a police officer, but he couldn't cut it, so he got on as a TSA guy. He was just being rude, not to me, he was being rude to everybody. So not just to me, but to everybody, and everybody else was just taking it. Like, he was just talking just negative. I get it could be frustrating. His job is probably really frustrating, but he was just rude to everybody. What part of take that out of your pocket didn't you understand? I'm like, why you got to talk like that to people? Like, they told people, don't put your shoes in the little tray, put your shoes on the conveyor belt. Okay. But maybe some people are used to putting them in the tray, whatever, so they put them in the tray. And didn't I say don't put your shoes in the tray? Don't you understand English? Don't put your shoes in. And I'm like, wow, he is really getting on people. Like, he lighting them up. So then I get up there and he's like, take all electronics out and put them in a tray. Take all electronics, tablets, computers, all electronics, take them out, put them in a tray. Don't leave them in the bag. All right, I had my little cell phone. Y'all know my cell phone. I had my little cell phone, put it in the thing. And he's like, why are you putting that in the tray? And I'm like, you said take out all electronics and put them in the tray. Well, you don't need to do that with your phone. I said, well, that ain't what you said. Plus, it don't hurt to put the phone in the tray anyway. It's electronic. It's all good. But I didn't say to put I said, man, it's in the tray. You got a problem with it being in the tray? If you got a problem with it being in the tray, take it out the tray. And, Miss Livingston, I'm like, he talking reckless to everybody. Who is it going to hurt to put this daggone phone in the tray? Especially after he said all electronics. Well, I said you can keep your phone. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. I've been saying it all day. You might have been saying it all day, but you didn't say it while I was standing in this line. I just heard you say, put all electronics in the tray. So we sitting there arguing, and he was the only irritating person. Everybody else was cool. Like, it was another person there, just kind of looking at me like, bro, just let it go. It ain't no big deal. Just let it go. And I'm like, nah, he ain't gonna keep talking reckless to people. So this fool put it in the tray. So then he follows me down. I go stand in the thing, get irradiated a little bit, and because I really do believe it's a part of a master plan. I think they are irradiating us at the airport very slowly. Just put them in there, shoot them with a little bit of radiation. It's population control. But that's, that's a little conspiracy theory somewhere in the back of my mind. He follows me down after they done irradiated me, and he still want to argue. And somebody else done went and took his position, and now they being nice to the people, just giving them instructions. Like, oh, don't forget your shoes. Because it was one lady, and she was like, because he was like, don't put your shoes in the tray. And he fussed at the one lady ahead of her, or the one man ahead of her, about putting his shoes in the tray. I just said, don't put the shoes in the tray. Well, she had a whole bag of shoes. So of course she had a simple question, which was a legit question if you ask me. She was like, you said don't put your shoes in the tray and take them out of the bag, but I got a whole bag of shoes. Should I leave them in the bag or should I put them on the conveyor? Simple question. He let that lady have it. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, just answer the lady's damn question. And she was the lady, she was right in front of me. So I was the next person after her. Eventually he told her to just leave them in the bag. But he lit her up. He lit her up. And she was sitting there, she looked like she was about to cry because she didn't know what to do. And she just wanted to follow the rules, but he wanted to be mean. And he irritated me. But other than him, everybody else was cool. And he came down and he wanted to argue with me some more. And I really just kind of ignored him, grabbed my shoes, grabbed my stuff, and start walking away. And he looked like he was going to follow me, but he didn't. So it wasn't that big of a deal. And then that was that. But he was horrible. He was horrible to people. And I wasn't going to let him be horrible to me. I was going to call him on it. Because there was no need for him to be mean. No need for him to be mean. But other than that, everything else was cool. Had no issues whatsoever. But all right, that's it. That's enough of that. It was a decent little trip. I had fun. Only one other thing. I will say, swimming in an outdoor pool in Arizona in the middle of the summer, it's pretty nice because it's almost like a heated swimming pool. So that was pretty nice. E-Man holding up the line and the conveyor belt arguing. No. I wasn't holding up nothing. You know how them lines be. They don't be. So while he was fussing at me, other people behind me was just doing, what they normally do. The people in front of me was waiting their turn to get irradiated. So, it was all good. That was my time to I felt like I was kind of speaking for everybody there. And everybody there seemed like nobody was like, just let it go, dude, or nothing like that. Everybody was nodding their head with me like, yeah, ain't no reason for him to be that mean. So I wasn't holding nobody up. And if anything, when he followed me, he was trying to hold stuff up. But it was all good. I don't want a heated swimming pool in 100 plus weather. When I said not heated, like heated, I would say the water was, and if I had to give it a temperature, I'm trying to think back to my getting my advanced life-saving certificate. Probably about 75 degrees, maybe. It wasn't like ice cold water. Which was good. You could jump in, you could be cooled off, but you didn't have to be freezing. I hate when people don't heat the swimming pool and the water is ice cold. I hate that. He must have punched him. What's up with the hand? Same issue with the hand. I really believe now I gotta go get it checked out. I think this had to be feel like a year or so ago when I fell on it when I was setting up my live broadcast at the Buzz studio, and I was standing on a swivel chair like a fool, and the chair swiveled, and I fell, and I caught myself from falling all the way down, but I hurt my wrist, and I think I broke it, but it wasn't too bad. Maybe I cracked a bone or something like that. It wasn't too bad. And so I put this on, and after a while, it kind of healed up. And so I stopped wearing it. But then I slept really wrong one day a couple weeks ago. And it's been hurting really bad since then. So I'm going to go get it checked out probably one day next week. Go to the doctor and get it checked out. I know a nurse. And, she kind of did, and she was like, you don't have very much in terms of range of motion. And she was like, you might have something in there that's broken or cracked, so you might want to go get it checked out. So that's all it is. That's all it is. I think I broke it, but yeah, that's it. Were you out in Phoenix? Just tuning in. Well, yeah, Scottsdale, Phoenix, same. It's like here in maybe Westchester or so. Maybe not even Westchester. It wasn't that far. So yes, that's where I was. Give your wrist a rest. No, I mean, it's like if I just hold it, like, this don't hurt because it can't. But if I flex it a little bit that way, a little bit that way, a little bit that way, all of that on this one, all of that little motion like that hurts like you wouldn't believe. So I'll be trying to get up and I'll put weight. Like I can put weight on it now because it's this brace, it's got a little metal piece in here and it's good and braced. So I can put weight on it now. But if I took this brace off and put weight on it, oh my God. Oh, I want to punch somebody. And ain't even nobody around. It ain't nobody's fault. So that's what happened to. And this became a point of contention as well, because I had this on and I was like, oh, okay, let me take this off. And the dude was like talking about, waiting my turn to get irradiated. So dude was like, you don't have to take that off. And I'm like, yes, I do. No, you don't have to take it off. And I don't understand. Like, I would think the more stuff that you can run through the x-ray scanner, the better. But if I would have tried to keep it on, he would have been telling me I got to take it off. So because I was trying to take it off, he was telling me I need to keep it on. And I'm like, no, it's got metal in it. I let him argue for a while, argue with him, for just a few seconds. And then I said, so the metal piece in here, it's cool to go through there. Well, you didn't say it had metal in it. You didn't ask. And I shouldn't have had to say I was taking it off. And you should have just let me take it off and put it in the bin. And then, so that was the last thing I took off and I put in the bin. And then I went and got irradiated. And then he came back to try to argue some more. But yeah. But that was the trip. And I sound like I'm complaining, but I'm not really complaining. That was the worst thing that happened to me on the trip. Of course, the worst thing that happened to Mrs. Livingston was losing her bag and all of her clothing and stuff like that. And somebody said you packed a carry-on for a 3-day trip. Yes, because we had to have, we knew we was going to be out and about. So we knew it was going to be hot. So I was just going to kick it in some shorts and a t-shirt, gym shoes for when we were out. But this conference was business casual. So I had to have on pants and, shoes and, a shirt with some sort of a collar. So I had to take different outfits for that and different outfits for that, which meant I needed different shoes for that and different shoes for that. Same with her. So yeah, we had to pack, was it 5 days? 5 days of, 2 outfits, 5 days. So yeah, I ain't carrying all of that around the airport. I was petty. I wasn't being petty. I was just going to take my thing off, put it in the bin and go get irradiated. He telling me not to take it off, but I knew I had to take it off because if I would have got in there, they'd have been like, oh, it's metal. And then I would have had to step off to the secondary. Now I don't like stepping off to the secondary. Just let me get my normal radiation and then go on about my business. My normal radiation and then go on about my business. PG. Now I know y'all talked out about it, but I don't know. I kind of don't like the fact that he got found guilty. I mean, clearly he broke some laws, even though he'll probably appeal. The city say they want their money back that they paid him, $71,000 or something like that, while he was suspended but still getting paid. Angela saying she had a bad experience in Houston. I don't know why they got to be negative. Just tell people what to do. Let people do it. Be vigilant about people trying to blow up the plane. That's my concern. I don't want to be on a plane that gets blown up. So be vigilant about that. That's it. Be vigilant. Everything else, where I put my shoes and all that, that ain't that big of a deal. Anyway. True story. My underwire in my bra kept setting off the metal detector at CBG. Damn. How big of a bra you got? Got that much metal in there. But all right. That's a big bra. It's a lot of metal, like a piece of sheet metal under there. How many years do I think he'll get? He'll definitely get, I think he'll get 3. Because what they tried to plea bargain and giving 2. And I think I read that he was facing 2 to 3. So he'll get the 3 because they don't want it to seem like, oh, you put us through all of this and then you still end up with what you would have got if we had a plea bargain. So he gonna get the higher end. He'll get the 3. He'll get the 3. he'll get the 3. And I mean, I don't, when you really think about it, the fact that he still got like close to $1 million in his pack that he could use for a pill and all of that stuff, the fact that, where is the incentive to not do it? Where's the incentive to not do it? Like, what did he really lose? He's still PG Sittenfeld. I believe he could still run in Cincinnati and win a seat. He still got that money. So you didn't like take money from him. What he gonna have to go to a nice little facility for a few years. If he even actually has to do a few years, he may not even end up doing a few years. So if I'm out there and I'm raking in big bucks, bribing and extorting, and again, I'm still not saying he was bribing and extorting, but that's what he got convicted of. So if I am bribing and extorting people, getting millions of dollars doing this, and I go to, I say nice little facility, because he ain't going to like no hardcore prison. He ain't going to no super max prison or nothing like that. He ain't gonna be in there worried about getting shanked. I hate that term just because it sounds so. But he not worried about that. He gonna go to a nice little facility and do his little time. It won't be pleasant, sure, because he ain't home, with all the trappings of wealth around him, and he's away from his family and all of that kind of stuff. But he ain't going to prison. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that he should, but he not going to prison. So he not worried. He don't have to worry about that. So, okay, you tell me, if I told you right now, look, are you willing to give up 2 years of your life? But I'll pay you, how much money has PG gotten over the past few years? You know what I'm saying? Think about the trade-off. You get to be a power player in the city. You get to get rich, live a really good life, become a multi-millionaire, and then maybe 10 years later, you do 2 years in jail, 3 years in jail maybe, and then you walk away still a multi-millionaire. So if I told you I give you $5 million, $6 million, but you have to go do 3 years in prison, a minimum security prison for 3 years. But once you get out, I will give you $5-7 million. How many people would do it? How many people would do it? 3 years minimum security prison for $7 million. I think depending on my age, my health, I might do that. Might not be a horrible deal. That might not be a horrible deal. Now, I mean, sure, if you live in a good life right now, you're probably like, no, I wouldn't do it. But if I'm thinking about it, if they came and made me that offer right now, minimum security prison, you do 3 years. When you get out, you got about $7 million sitting there waiting for you. And influence. Because don't forget, he had influence and he will have influence. See, Myosha says she thinks his political career is over. I don't think so. I don't think his political career is over. I really don't. This is Cincinnati and Hamilton County. And he is a nice white man. And ain't no shot at PG that he's white. Ain't no shot at PG that he's nice. I think he gets out of jail, he chills out for a minute, and then he can say he fought him. You know, I was set up like a mother, you know, and I'm here. And now all I know is to be doubly careful to not do anything that anybody could even construe mistakenly as corruption. And he can run for something and PG will get elected again in Cincinnati and in Hamilton County. Now, I think Tamaya, I think her political career is over. I think Jeff Pastor, I think his political career is over. But I don't think PG's political career is over. I think he can survive this. He can survive this. I'm telling you, I think he can survive this. In Cincinnati, in Hamilton County, PG Sittenfeld can survive this. Yeah, but what other nice white men want to align themselves with him? I think he got a lot of black people that will align themselves with him. And I think he's got a lot of white people that will still align themselves with him. Then you see what the little letter or whatever. There are opinion pieces in multiple places where you got white people defending PG Sittenfeld, kind of de facto defending him. Like they're not coming out and saying he didn't do anything, but they're coming out and saying, why would they go after him? He's small fries. He's nothing. That's kind of de facto defending him. That's almost like saying he ain't doing nothing but what everybody else is doing. And he ain't even probably doing it to the level that everybody else is doing it to. So why are they picking on him? When you got people openly saying, why are they picking on him? You got a future still. You still got a future. Where's little baby? Upstairs. Little baby upstairs. She didn't want to come down here. She mad at me because I keep picking with her. That's why she mad at me. But yeah, she got a little attitude with me. I keep blocking her phone while she's trying to play her game. I don't know. I just do it. I just pick with her just to pick with her. But she has, by the way, started calling me grandfather. She's back and forth with Pawpaw and grandfather. I'm shifting her much more to grandfather. I agree with this. The energy seems as if he can still be a player in the political realm. Yeah, he could. I'm telling you. I pay attention to the way we react to him. And, you know, some of us hate on him because, you know, we like, hey, we see the kind of structural racism involved. We see the way everything is structured. We see that he can come back. We see that he can get a fair shot. We see all of that kind of stuff. And so we hate on him because of it when it's really not his fault. I mean, he's not gonna turn it down. You know what I'm saying? You like, hey, you're a white guy. Here's the white guy prize. And you're like, no, I don't want the white guy prize. Please, please. If it's a black man prize, I want it. If it's a black man prize, you know what I'm saying? If it's like, hey, you get the benefit of the doubt because you're black. You want the black man discount? If it was a black man discount, no, I don't like black men discount. I think that's horrible. It sends a bad message to society. No, I'm like, give me the black man discount. Why ain't nobody tell me about the black man discount earlier? I would take the black man discount. So as a white dude, what are we mad at PG because he take the white man discount? No. If it's there, it's there. It's not his fault. And, you know, we might look at it and say, he shouldn't take it. But anyway, all that to say, I see some of us being mad at him because of that. But I see enough of us. Number one, it's enough of us that don't pay no attention at all. And then number two, there's enough of us that ain't mad about it. There are enough of us, and I'm not saying no names. There's enough of us that are like, oh, he shouldn't have been found guilty at all. And, you know, he's the best white man ever. And we love him. It's enough of us that are there too. So and he can get votes from the black community. And like I said, white people are like, hey, why are they picking on him? Why are they picking on him? So they ready to, yeah. Even if he doesn't run for an office and get elected, he still can be a power player. He can be on somebody's board somewhere, or he can be what's the word I'm looking for? A strategist. He can be a strategist of some sort. I mean, based on what he achieved and accomplished, if you wanted to run for office from a political standpoint, would you be able to go to PG and say, help me with my campaign? Apparently he knows how to do it. He was gonna be the mayor. He would have been the mayor had not this happened. When he's been the top vote getter for how many elections? He knows something. So yeah, he gonna be all right. He gonna be all right. Yeah, who gonna deny you stay shading Lincoln? I didn't say anything about Lincoln. I didn't say anything about Lincoln. I bet Lincoln put money on his books. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Let's see. Okay, I don't know what you responded to. Something Angela Kinney said. But I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be all right. How much time y'all think they're gonna give him? Now, the article that I read that was talking about the amount of time that he's facing said he was facing like 2 to 3 years. Said like 2 to 3 years. I never said he wouldn't be all right. He a white boy. Of course he'll be all right. I just think his political career is over. Okay. All right. Um, again, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I'm just not sure about it. Let's see. Let's see. There was something else that I wanted to discuss. Something else that I wanted to discuss. But before, I really want to know, how much time do y'all think, based on what he was convicted of, how much time does he deserve? And how much time do you think he'll get? How much time does he deserve? And how much time do you think he'll get? Hold on, let me see. How much time is he facing? Let's see. He turned down a plea that would have got him 2 years. Trying to read through this article real quick to see how much time he's actually facing. Okay, that article doesn't say it. He'll get 1 year in jail and 2 years probation. I think he's getting at least 2 years. I think it's going to be at the very least 2 years, because that's the plea deal that he turned down. So he was found guilty. They're going to give him at least what he turned down in the plea deal. I mean, that's the trade-off. Hold on, I'm offering you 2 years and you say no, and then you get convicted and you get less than what I was offering you. Yeah, no, they don't roll like that. They don't roll like that. Because if people believe that that's the way it's going to go down, everybody would be turning down plea deals. Like, no, just take me to trial. I'll take my chances with the jury. Let me see. This one says he could face 2 to 3 years in prison. Yeah, so they're saying he's facing 2 to 3 years. He gonna get at least 2. Lewis says 14 months. Ben says 10 years. Ben, are you saying he's facing 10 years, or are you saying he deserves 10 years? He's facing 10 or he deserves 10. I think he'll get, if he's looking at 3, he'll get 3. But it'll definitely be at least 2. At least 2. I think he'll get a few more months than Denard. Ben says he's facing 20. I'm not. I think he was facing 20 if he would have been found guilty of everything, right? I mean, look, I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but just everything that I'm reading, Sittenfeld was found guilty of federal corruption charges, including bribery and attempted extortion. He could face up to 3.5 years in prison, according to a sentencing expert. Now, think if he had been convicted of everything, he was facing like a whole lot of time. When is his sentencing? Not sure. Not sure. They said it could be like in the next 60 days or something like that. I don't believe he will go to jail. See, I think he definitely going to jail only because he turned down the plea deal. Only because he turned down the plea deal. Like, just think about the logic of it. Hey, we don't really want to go to trial. We got you, bruh. Why don't you just say you guilty and take these 2 years? and then everybody can just be done with it. And you're like, nah, I ain't saying I'm guilty. I ain't taking no 10 years. Take me to court. Prove it. Prove it. I ain't taking no deal from you. Prove that shit. Then you go to court and you prove it. Hey, we offered him 2 years. He wouldn't take our 2 years. So now, what, we gonna give him a year? No, he got to pay for turning down that deal. He getting at least 2. At least 2. Jeff Pastor getting life. Jeff, it don't look good for Jeff. It don't look good for Jeff. Jeff might want to, I know he said his mama didn't raise no hoe. His mama didn't raise no hoe. But I don't know if you really just, if you being a hoe, taking the deal, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I know he got a lawyer, had a lawyer, you get the best deal that you think you can get. But if you convicted, Jeff, if you convicted, like, I know you were a Republican. I know that. But you were not white. You weren't. You aren't now. And if you go to court and they find you guilty, see, Tamaya took that deal. PG is a white man. You're going to be a black man who didn't take the deal. And then if you get found guilty, bruh, I'm about to say you were going to get stroked, but that might be too close to real. It's not going to be good for you. If Jeff Pastor was asking me, I would say to Jeff Pastor, like, bruh, they got you. I would look at the evidence, and just based on this little bit of evidence that I saw, they got you. Your boy is probably already preparing to turn on you. I know he telling you he ain't. But your boy probably already done turned on you. If they offering you a deal, take that deal, man. Take that deal. Because you, like what PG did, at least his stuff kind of looks like it could have been, like at least he was saying the right stuff. Like, there ain't no quid pro quo here, buddy, And if I recall, I haven't pulled up the indictment in a minute. But if I recall, your boy was just straight up, according to what they are presenting. You know the truth. You know what is and what ain't. But according to what they was presenting, you and your boy look guilty as heck. Take the deal, man. If you get found guilty, it ain't going to be good for you. It ain't going to be good. It's going to be all bad. You are not PG. And I don't say that in such a way as to say he's better than you. He's just different. You being a Republican and having a lot of connected white people on your side, they probably not on your side no more. I don't want to see you, because if I'm being honest, Jeff, sorry, but if I'm being honest, I believe you did it. I believe you did what they're accusing you of doing. Now, if you didn't, don't take the deal, fight it. But if you did some of that stuff, bruh, take the deal. Take the deal. Because I don't want to see you in jail for the next 15, 20 years. believe he did it. Just based on, again, I'm not saying he did it. I'm not making a definitive statement that he's guilty. But just based on reading the indictment as it stands right now, I believe you did it. You did some of it. And if you did some of it, a jury will accept you did some of it. Because remember, you Black. PG gonna get, oh, PG did this and he did this, but he didn't do that. That's that privilege. That's the benefit of the doubt you get from being a white man walking to court with your, I don't want to say anything disrespectful, with his elderly grandmother. That's the benefit you get from all of that. You're not white. And I don't know that you walking in with your elderly grandmama is going to help. Or your two wives. I don't know that he actually got two wives. That was just a rumor or something. But you're Black. And it's the truth. We are in America. They're going to say, if he did this, he Black. He did all that. Kenneth say he ain't did nothing but being Black. There was something about some open marriage type stuff or something like that. But I'm just saying none of that stuff plays well in terms of the sympathy of the jury. Like an old grandmama walking you to court, you got to help her. You know what I'm saying? Phyllis, I would support jail time. The other council reps got sentenced, so should he. Tired of tales of unjust sentencing. Race is always a factor, unfortunately. I thought that was his mama. It might have been his mom. It was an old lady. You get points for old ladies. You get points for old ladies. I believe PG, according to everything that I've read so far, he's facing like 3.5 years. He's not going to get 3.5 years, but he'll definitely get 2, at least. So I'm rolling with 2.5 years. So what's that, 30 months? I'm rolling with 30 months. But he still could appeal. And he's got like $1 million in campaign funds that he could use to pay for the appeal. So points for old ladies. What kind of points? It make you look like a good dude to some people. It's the whole helping an old lady cross the street. Like, oh, he's a nice guy. That's just the way it is. And if you walking out, I don't know if it's his mama, if it's his grandmama, I'm not sure which it is, but it was an older lady that they showed him walking with. And if you know, that plays to the sympathy card, even, you know, in terms of the way the media is going to report it. Whether or not the jury sees him walk in with the old lady, helping her, because, you know, they walk slow. So you got to take your time. They get them steps in and then help her sit down. And I'm sure every once in a while during the trial, he looked back at her and she gave him that loving smile. And the jury saw that. Yeah, is that his mama, his grandmama? He likes the old lady and she loves him. He can't be all that bad. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you get sympathy points for that. You get sympathy points for that. I don't know that you get sympathy points for my mama ain't raised no hoe. I don't think you get sympathy points for that. It all depends on who's gonna be on the jury, but there's a really good chance the jury ain't gonna be sympathetic to my mama ain't raised no hoe. PG is just as guilty as Pastor, and both will do time in federal prison. The federal joints are full of nice white guys like PG. He gonna do some time, at least 2 years. At least 2 years. You wrong painting that picture. What picture? What picture? Dude better take a deal. He's already having lawyer problems. I wish the best for him. I really do. I really do. I mean, none of these people should be doing corrupt stuff in government, but people make bad decisions, and sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. They caught these people, and if they prove that they're guilty, and hold on a second. Again, I'm not saying that Jeff is guilty, Mr. Pastor. I'm not saying that he's guilty. Just because I believe he's guilty doesn't mean he is. But I'm not saying that he's guilty. I'm not saying it. The grandma defense wouldn't work for me because my grandma would come in there ready to fight and cussing out everybody, messing with me. I'm going to jail for sure. I mean, you'd be up in there talking about my grandmama didn't raise no hoe. So, hey. What a last name, Pastor. Nothing wrong with the last name, Pastor. All right. There was something else that I wanted to discuss. And it's a story that actually Mrs. Livingston saw. And I was like, but then I just want y'all opinion on whether or not this is wrong. But hear the whole story out, okay? Chinese boy, this is in China. A Chinese boy, 5 years old, was abandoned at kindergarten by his father. Of course, on the surface, you're like, there's nothing else that you need to say, man. He's wrong. The father took the boy, took him some clothes and a cell phone, packed it in his little bag, dropped him off at kindergarten, never came and picked him up. The school reached out like, hey, you gonna pick this boy up? He's like, no. They reached out to his family, grandmama, grandpa, y'all gonna pick him up? No. The reason why he abandoned the boy is because he found out he wasn't a biological father. So he figured, it ain't my son. I drop him off and let his mama deal with him. Here's the story from the South China Morning Post. 5-year-old boy has been abandoned in his kindergarten in China after his father discovered he was not his biological son. The little boy, identified by local reports as, I can't pronounce no Chinese name, Zhao Rui. I know I butchered that. I'm sorry, Zhao. Was abandoned at the kindergarten last week by his father after he dropped the child off. No one arrived to collect the boy that afternoon. Staff contacted his parents and relatives, but none of them wanted him. The boy's teacher, Chen, said that Zhao Rui was enrolled at the kindergarten in April this year, and that his father brought him to the kindergarten, and this was in southern China, and picked him up at the end of each school day. He was a good dad. The father, who was not named, told Chen he wouldn't come for the boy because he had discovered that Zhao was not his own son after getting a paternity test. The father then told Chen the boy was now the school's problem. Chen, being the teacher, later discovered that Zhao's father had packed a change of clothes and a mobile phone in the boy's bag on the last day he dropped him off. The father continued to speak to the school on the phone, but refused to come and collect the boy. Then they went to the house where the boy had lived with his parents and found that the house was empty. He moved out. The whereabouts of the boy's mother is also unknown. That's a little concerning. Chen called the local police for help, and they contacted the grandfather and the uncle, but both declined to take the boy. According to a news report, his mother is actually expected to pick up the boy this week. Of course, the news triggered outrage in China, with many people shocked by the behavior of the boy's parents. They're saying how innocent the boy is. The mother was unbelievably irresponsible. They say, obviously, the father had talked with his wife and relatives, and no one wanted the boy, which forced him to leave the kid in the kindergarten. Now, under Chinese law, the father has not committed the crime of abandonment because the boy is not his biological son. However, if the biological mother refuses to raise him, she would be committing a crime and could be jailed or placed under detention for up to 5 years. Parents abandoning their children apparently ain't uncommon in China, but the number of orphans has declined in recent years. All right. So that is sad. That is sad. Somebody says, oh, that's horrible. Myosha, that's horrible. Be mad at moms, but don't take it out on the little boy. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. All jokes aside, the 5-year-old boy didn't have nothing to do with it. All right. I don't understand why y'all bringing that up. What y'all mean the 5-year-old boy didn't have nothing to do with it? The 5-year-old boy didn't have nothing to do with it, neither did the father. Or the fake father. The dude who was tricked into believing that he was the father. So you say, oh, the boy didn't do nothing wrong. Why take it out on the boy? You're not really taking it out on the boy. Here's a child that's not my son. I'm not raising him because he's not my son. How is the father wrong in this scenario, which is a real scenario? A child that's not mine, I'm not raising him. Let his mama pick him up. Hell, if y'all want him, y'all take him. But he's not my child. Is it, kind of cold-hearted, whatever? I could see how one could look at it that way. But it's not your child. What if I bring a 5-year-old over to your house today and just say, here, raise him? You're like, that's not my kid. No, I'm not raising him. Oh, you cold-hearted. It's not your kid. How is that cold-hearted? How is that cold-hearted? How is that you taking it out on the kid? If I bring a random 5-year-old to your house today and be like, he's your responsibility now. He wrong because he left the little boy at school. I would have at least picked him up and kept him until we could find his mom. No. He dropped him off at school. He took him a change of clothes and a phone. They could get in touch with the mom. Apparently the mom is coming sometime this week to pick up the child. Once you find out, and I don't know that a lot of people understand this, and luckily I've never been in this situation, but I could imagine once I find out that a child that I thought was mine was not mine, my responsibility ends right now. right? Open up the envelope. You are not the father. My responsibility is over. I thought that was my child. It's not my child. Not my responsibility anymore. Take them to school. Give them a change of clothes. Give them a phone. Give them clothes. Here's a phone. And to the school, y'all know what to do. Y'all know what to do. Sorry, I have a heart, Mr. Emanuel. I love the kids. I love the kids too. So can I just bring a random 5-year-old to your house and now he your responsibility? Just here's a 5-year-old. You're responsible for raising them. But that's not my kid. It's not my child. If I choose to raise this random 5-year-old, good for me and good for him because I'll raise him well. But if not, I have the right to say, I don't want a kid. That's not my kid. Where was her ass anyway? Probably out somewhere cheating again. Nah, she wrong for tricking that man. He at least left him in a safe place. Right. And keep in mind, apparently, according to the article, and I just take their word for it, according to the article, abandoning kids is something that happens there. So he left them, he left the child with the school, and he know the child is going to be taken care of to some degree. So did You Are Not the Father at least drop the 5-year-old boy and dap the 5-year-old boy and wish him luck in his future endeavors? Lewis said, they made me keep paying child support after I found out my daughter wasn't mine. Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. Myosha says, yes, you can. I wouldn't leave him out on the porch. He didn't leave him out on the porch. He left him at school. At school with people who he know and who know him. Yeah, mom was with the real baby daddy. Just cut him off like that. Wow. What he supposed to do? What he supposed to do? It's not his child. It's not his child. What about the dishonest woman who put the kid on the man? Nobody ever want to talk about that, man. Nobody ever want to talk about that. Now it's his fault. Apparently, he was a good, responsible dad. I just look at the details in the story. He was the one who dropped the child off and picked the child up every day without fail. Even when he dropped the child off, he dropped him off, he packed a change of clothes, which is the fact that they brought that up says to me it's not the norm. Otherwise, you wouldn't have brought it up and put a cell phone in his bag. So that, I don't know, probably numbers in the cell phone or something. Brent says, China recently reversed their one-child policy, so think I understand from a cultural perspective that you want the children that you raise to be yours biologically. Yeah. Denise says, the mother is at fault. Tell men the truth about who the real father is. Then he can choose to be in the child's life. People forgetting he didn't have to pack him anything. At least he did that much, making sure he had a phone and clothes. Has the child been living with him as his child for those 5 years? Probably. Probably. But it's not his child. I was saying yes, you can, to your example of coming to my house, dropping off a 5-year-old on my porch. I know that's what you were saying. Well, that's just what you say because you know ain't nobody about to actually do it. Andrew wants to, well, he was just about to ask she was just about to ask the same question. I don't what difference do that make? What difference does it make? Let's assume, because it's a safe assumption, yeah, for 5 years, he thought that was his child and he raised that child as his child. The child lived with him for 5 years as his child. What difference does that make? It's not his child. It's not. Um, okay, got a call coming in. Let's go to the phone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. I'm doing good, Brent. How are you? Hey, that's good heat, man. I mean, I'm not saying it's pleasant to be at 122, but it's not horrible. Like up here, 95, 97 with that high humidity, it's oppressive. Down there, it wasn't that oppressive. No. It yeah, yeah. Yeah. What Brent, this is what I tell when I walked out of we were walking, the bus was already lined up, the little shuttle to take us to the rental car spot. And so we walked out like right behind the bus. And the wind hit, and I like it took my breath away for a minute just because it was so high. And I really thought, man, I'm standing right here catching the air off of this engine of this, but you know how that happens sometime and it just blow all that. That was what I thought I was experiencing. So went and real quick got on the bus and I was like, all right, it's cool. But then once we got off the bus and the bus was gone and that wind hit, I was like, no, that was just the wind. Like that's the it. Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I was like, oh my goodness, it took me a minute to get used to it. But then, like I said, it wasn't pleasant, but it wasn't horrible. Now I did get on the elevator with a couple ladies who were from Alaska. And they were like, oh, I'll take 40 below any day over this 110. And I was thinking, no, you crazy. I'll take 122 over 40 below every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Oh, mm-mm. No. Honestly, we differ because I would take heat over cold any day, any day. All right. They're telling me they can't hear you. Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. I think I might have just fixed it.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Yeah. Sorry about that, y'all. I had a setting wrong, but I got it. I got it right now.
So they can hear me now?
They can hear you now.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about what they want me to talk about anyway. When did you get back in town? Just a quick question.
I guess I would say last night, yesterday.
Okay. So you don't know who the new AEW Tag Team Champions are?
No, I didn't watch. I didn't get a chance to watch anything.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, go check out. All you have to do is check out the first match and the last match. Those were two great matches for different reasons, but yeah, you will definitely get a kick out of that, man. Tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. We'll talk more wrestling and piss off everyone else online.
What you think about the Chinese boy?
Oh, now he is Japanese, but he's good, and he is supposed to be red shoe.
No, I'm talking about.
The little Chinese boy. Yeah. Man, I'm here for the jokes, but that's messed up. If the dude I thought was my daddy just dropped me off with some clothes and a cell phone, and I'm thinking he come up, and I could just imagine his little self. The bell is ringing, all the parents are coming to picking up their children, and he's sitting there on the little steps, waiting for his what we thought was his daddy to come pick up. So I feel for the little man. I understand the father. Don't condone it, but I can understand it. I can understand it, but man, that just ain't good. Just ain't good.
I feel for the little boy too, but if anything, you got to blame the mama.
Yeah.
All of this is the mama's fault for making that man believe, I guess cheating on that man and making him believe that was his child.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if they have a Chinese version of Maury or Lauren Lake to go on the show, because I would love to see how that plays out, and I want to see a picture of this mama, because for her not to, it's been a week now and she still hasn't picked up her son. Man, there's got to be more to the story.
Well, they say
there's so many.
They say she's coming to pick up the child. She's supposed to come and pick up the child this week.
But a week later, man, if my dad was to leave me anywhere, my mom would be there that same day, if not in an hour. As quick as she can get there, she'd be there. But a week later, because it had to have been over a weekend too, man. Maybe she doesn't need to have a little man. Maybe he needs to find a new family.
So what else would you have the I'm gonna call him the father, even though he's not the father.
Right.
What else would you have the father do? If you learn that that's not your child, and well, I guess he's not with the mama, or they not together. What else would you have him do? Just keep a child that's not his, and clearly he doesn't want?
Now I could see him taking him by one of the orphanages there and dropping him off and just peace out from there. But I don't know how this. I'm guessing the schools aren't set up like they are, for us here in the States, where it seems like people are there actually watching, or there overnight and throughout the weekend. So, man, maybe at least that, drop them off at the police station. But but the father also, he moved out of the apartment, right?
Yeah, he.
So, man, so he had this whole thing planned.
Hey, when you
got a new spot,
when you find out that is not your child and you don't want anything else to do with it, or with him, then you make your plans. Because he know if he was still there, they would have brought that child and dropped the child off, and then he would have been sitting there looking at the child that's not his child, upset.
Right. I wonder if he timed it perfectly with his lease being up. Because, people are going to stay around if they even got 2 months left on their lease to pay that those fees. So, man, this sounds like a plan that has been in the works, that he has been plotting for a while. It just didn't happen that one day. There is more to the story, and we need we need you to follow up on this story as well as the horse whisperer story. What's going on with that one?
I'm gonna look into the horse boy. I'm gonna look into that story. It's something popped up about it not too long ago, and I saw it, but I didn't click on. I was looking for something else, so I didn't click on the story to see whatever the update was. So I will look
Yeah,
into
because
it.
at the very least, I want to see the highlights of the trial, just as what happened, what went on. Was this an ongoing occurrence or a one-time thing where he just slipped up? Maybe he was on some drugs. Maybe it's something like that. I'm hoping that's the case where he didn't know what he was doing. But if he knew what he was doing, it's just nasty. Vine Street Betty, she'll hook you up. You don't need to find a horse.
He liked the horse. He loves horses. Brent, I appreciate your call.
All right, take it easy.
All right. That's Brent. Sorry about the first part of that call. Of course, I had shut everything down and I had to go in and redo the settings and stuff. And sorry about that, y'all. Janice says, I could see him taking the child home and leaving the mother when she got home. I wouldn't trust him or the mother under any circumstances. But apparently him and the mother aren't together. I don't know if they weren't married or what, but apparently he and the mother, because he's moved and they didn't know where the mother was, but apparently they've contacted the mother and the mother's supposed to pick the boy up. So maybe he had like sole custody of the boy, like he was the only one raising the boy or something. It don't make a whole lot of sense to me. Of course, you have to know all those little details, but the bottom line is it's not his child. And as much as it's a good thing to take care of a child and to be more concerned about the well-being of the child than about you. It's different. And maybe as a woman, you just can't understand. Maybe as a woman, it's just one of those things where maybe it's difficult to process because look, if you have a kid, you having a kid. There's no question that's your kid. So you become emotionally attached and all of that kind of stuff to your kid. But when you're a father, you become emotionally attached and all that kind of stuff, and then you find out that's not your child. That's why I always hated on Maury. I don't know what you're talking about Maury for. Bear with me for a second. I always hated on Maury when they would find out you are not the father, and they be together, and then Maury be like, "Hey, look, me and Connie adopted a child, and that child is not my biological child, but I love that child just the same." And that used to frustrate me like you wouldn't believe, because I'm like, Maury, you wasn't tricked into developing an emotional bond with that child. You chose to develop an emotional. That's different. If I go out and adopt a child, okay, I know that's not my child. Or if I meet a woman and she already pregnant and she have that baby, I know that's not my child. I'm not being tricked into having an emotional attachment. I'm choosing to open myself up to that emotional attachment. That's so much different than being tricked into having an emotional attachment to a child and a financial attachment to a child and all these other attachments that you tricked me into. And then I find out this entire situation is a lie. Everything surrounding this child in my life is a lie. So you can't, for the women who are saying, oh, this guy should have, this guy should have did that. When you've been tricked into something, it changes everything. And sure, everybody's not the same. So some guys can overcome that and just be like, it's a kid and I love kids. So that's fine. But other dudes, it's like, you manipulated me and my emotions. And while it ain't the child's fault, it ain't my fault either. And so why y'all want me to be so worried about the child's mental and emotional well-being, I got to be more worried about my mental and emotional well-being and let the mama figure out the child's mental and emotional well-being. And I don't think that makes you a bad person if you are that way. I don't think it makes you a bad person. You, mom, created an entire situation, which apparently at this point, I would imagine at this point, has mentally and emotionally messed up your child. You got to fix the situation that you created. You created it. It's your role to fix it. I got to worry about me. The loss, I had a child and I don't have a child no more. Well, yeah, you do. He's still there. No, he's not. There is a child there, but I don't have a child anymore. Now, I'm not like going to equate it to like losing a child like to death or something like that. I would imagine that's very different. But I could also imagine thinking for 5 years that this is my boy. I done raised him from here to here. And now he, and he's mine, he's mine, he's mine. And I want to pour everything I got into him. And then I find out he's not mine. I don't have a child. I don't have a child. I had a child before I opened this envelope. Then I opened the envelope. I don't have a child anymore. And now my emotions are all tied up in a child that's not my child. And again, like I said, some people can get over that. But I understand the people who can't. Brent says men have a hard exterior, but we have feelings too. Yeah. Jason says it's called accountability. And by the comments, these females don't believe in taking responsibility for their actions. Brenda comes back. It's not the child's fault. Mother must decide whether to continue with this equation. Now, mother don't get the right to make the decision. I get to make the decision. I decide whether or not I still want to be in this child's life or whether I don't want to have anything to do with this child. I get to make that decision. You made a decision. You made a decision to trick me, to lie to me, to deceive this child, to put this child in a position where their future is uncertain if I just so happen to find out the truth. You made that decision. You don't get to make no more decisions when it comes to me. I get to make the decision. What do I do? The bond you have with that child is dead, though. So the grief could be similar. And I kind of feel that way, but that one seems so much more extreme than the other. Lewis says, losing a child to paternity, it must work. Man, I don't know what just happened there. Losing a child to paternity is much worse than losing a child to death. Trust me, I know this personally. Well, I think in order to say that, you would have to have lost one to both. And I don't know if that's the case with you. So you've lost a child to death and you've lost a child to paternity, and you can say one is worse than the other, or at least it was worse for you. bringing the child around your family and now having to explain to your family he's not yours. Sad. Kenneth said, it's called your girl got her guts busted elsewhere. The man can decide to be supportive if he chooses. I think he did decide to be supportive of himself and support his mental and emotional health. I think that is what he decided. I'm going to support me because I know if I keep dealing with this, it's going to totally destroy me. So I got to support me. I got to support me. So that's what he chose to do. Can you take Brent's call again and start from the top? Okay, again, I'm sorry about that. Sorry about the caller not being able to be heard when he called. But you could call in. You could give me a call, 513-717-5464. 513-717-KING. You could give me a call. Tell me what you think. Janice says, in no way am I dismissing the man's feelings, but as adults, we are at least to protect the child's safety. This child is also the harmed party. And I think that by dropping or by leaving him at the school, he knew that the child was going to be safe. He knew the child was going to be safe at the school. So I think that was a decent, I mean, if you imagine, I imagine right now, if I take the little baby to school and leave her there, and they reach out, because number one, they're going to reach out to everybody that they can think of to reach out to. That's what they're going to do. They're going to reach out to her mama, her daddy, her grandmama, her granddaddy on the other side. They're going to reach out to me, my brothers and sisters. They're going to reach out to everybody that they can. They're going to do their best to make sure that their little baby is taken care of. Oh, she says emotionally. That ain't his responsibility no more. And the way that he see it, I imagine that's not his responsibility. This might be just one of them things where, women, maybe y'all should have an opinion on it. Just because some of y'all can't seem to understand what would happen. Women could only ever come close to this feeling if their babies was switched in the hospital. So I can't speak fully on it, but as a kid who had mother and father figures instead of the real thing, there's nothing like having your biological parent. Can you recap the story? I missed it. A boy in China, 5-year-old boy, was abandoned in kindergarten. His father dropped him off at school after he got a paternity test and he discovered that he was not the biological father. So he drops his son off where he normally drops the son off and picks him up every day. He dropped off the child and didn't come and pick him up. No one arrived. Staff contacted his parents and relatives. None of them wanted him back. The boy's father, they didn't name him, say he got a paternity test. He found out that he was not the father, and he told the school, the boy is now y'all problem. He had packed a change of clothes and a mobile phone in the boy's bag the last day he dropped him off. And he continued talking to the school, but he wasn't coming to pick the child up because he said, it's not my child. They went to his house. He had moved. Apparently now the mother of the child is supposed to be coming and picking the boy up this week. And of course, it triggered outrage in China. People are talking about how innocent the boy is and how irresponsible the mother is. Under Chinese law, The father has not committed a crime. And under anybody's law, the father should not have committed a crime. I don't see where there is a crime that the father committed. Now, if the biological mother refuses to pick him up, then she's committed a crime. She could face 5 years in jail for that. And apparently, parents abandoning their children is not uncommon. It's not uncommon. So that's the recap of the story. Some of these women giving me putting a baby on a man vibes. Some of them are. And people act like that's okay. People act like that's okay. Oh, boy, here we go. Damn, he could at least taken him to his mom or an orphanage. You just left the baby at school like he's a puppy. Father or not, he was in the role of parent at the time. He was in the role of parent. And as a parent, he dropped the child off at school. And then he stepped out of the role as parent because he was not the parent. Because he was not the parent. Y'all really seem to believe that it's okay. I know y'all not saying it, but y'all seem to believe that because a woman lied to a man, make him believe something that she probably know to not be true. For the rest of his life, he's responsible for upholding her lie. He could have dropped him off at his mom or an orphanage. He dropped him off at school. Guess what? If the mama don't come and get him, he'll end up in an orphanage. The school going to make sure. Do we know that the mother is the mother? Oh, now we got excuses after excuses. So now the baby might have been switched at birth. And that's why the DNA didn't prove that it was it, because it was switched at. Stop it. Stop it, Shauna. Mama, go pick up the child and keep it moving. And that's what should happen. That's exactly what should happen. And that would be the end of everything. That would be the end of everything. It happens. How often does it happen? How often does it happen? Maybe that could be the thing that y'all doing. Jenna says, no, I understand he can walk away since the child is not his, but no, don't just drop him off at school. That wasn't right. Okay, so then what's the right way to do it? What's the right way to do it? Shauna says it happened. So maybe on Maury, that's what's happening to all of them chicks on Maury. The baby was switched at birth. The child that I gave birth to was his, but they switched the baby. So this ain't neither one of ours. It's possible, but probably not. Raven says it's messed up because the child is the one who will suffer most when he looks back and remembers that abandonment. And it'll be mom's fault for lying. Still, non-dad could have properly said his goodbye or took the child directly to mom and said, that was it. Janice is going to say goodbye because of the lack of sensitivity for the child. All right. You really should just say goodbye because your lack of sensitivity for that man. All the excuses that you're making to make it okay. Raven says, I'm out. All right, Raven. Jericho says, my name isn't Janice, but he should have called the mom and told her that he would take the child to school, but that she would need to pick him up. But she found out she needed to pick him up. She still ain't pick him up. Like, y'all got excuses after excuses after excuses. He should have called the mom and said, I'm going to take the boy to school, but you got to pick him up. Well, the school been trying to get in touch with the mama. The mama still ain't picked him up. So what difference would that have made? Y'all got excuses after excuses after excuses. Oh, that's what she's. Oh, okay. Could have contacted the child directly and said, I'm out. Okay. I thought you were saying you was out. And I didn't get a chance to listen to your show, of course, because, I mean, I guess I could have technically listened to it, but you came on at 9. It was 6 o'clock there. It wasn't 6 o'clock in the morning. I support you, but, you didn't say that at first. Give the whole story. I did say it. I read the entire story. Moms ain't picked up the child. She's supposed to come and pick the child up this week. I'm just noticing that a lot of these women, they have excuses for what the woman did, or at least excuses for why the man should be more responsible. Emanuel, these women who giving you excuses if they played a man, ask them if they played a man knowing the baby wasn't his. That's kind of that's what it feel like. Like some of y'all was like, so what? She told him it was his baby. He still should have been responsible for that child after he found out it wasn't. So let me ask you this. If you're around a child that's not yours, you don't have an instinctual feeling as an adult to look out for the kid. He did look out for the kid. He took him to school, which was a place that he knew he would be safe. He packed him an extra pair of clothes and a phone. That's looking out for him. Taking the child somewhere safe. Again, from my perspective, I'm imagining this is not his child. Like, not his child. If I find a child, a 5-year-old wandering the street, and somehow I know what school he go to. So I take a little bag, I pack some clothes in it, I put a little cell phone in there, so that whoever at the school decides to do whatever, they have some way of doing whatever they want to do. And then I drop that kid off at the school. I just did a good thing for that child. He's going to be safe at school. They're going to find who they got to find to pick him up. And if they don't, they're going to take him to the appropriate people. But their responsibility is to make sure that this kid is safe. He dropped the kid off in an appropriate place to make sure the kid was safe. Now, look, y'all would have me if he just took him into downtown Shanghai, took him to the centermost spot, told him we're going to play a game of hide and seek, count to 10, and then hopped in the car and drove off. And the kid was just in the middle of downtown Shanghai looking around like, what? Because anything could happen to the kid. He didn't do that. He took him to a safe place where he knew people who cared about him. And he left him there. That don't sound like somebody who did not care about the welfare of the child. Emanuel was saying, F that kid that's been in my life for 5 years. I don't give a F about that kid. That's just horrible. It might sound horrible to you, but if that's how that man feel, that's how that man feel, he was tricked into being in that child's life for 5 years. So I don't know, the child look like, I really think women should look at this differently. Like, y'all look at it so casually and cavalierly, like, oh, well, we'll trick him into believing it's his child. And then, once he get attached, then, hey, what can he do? But that's not right. It's not right to do that. And if you trick me into something, when I find out I've been tricked, if right now I found out I was somehow tricked about, something about Mrs. Livingston, she tricked me, we wouldn't be married no more. But wait a minute, y'all been together for over 10 years. But it's all built on a lie. It's all built on a lie. So it ain't real. And y'all act like that don't mean anything. But that means something. That means something. Now, to different people, it means different things, of course. To different people, it means different things. What I say, oh, wait a minute. What if, I love it when people do this because my feelings are typically the same. What if it was your granddaughter and her father found out he was not the father and did the same? Would he be justified? Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. If he found out that wasn't his child, he dropped that little baby off at the school, and the school called me and said, hey, she's here and no one's picked her up. I'd go pick her up. And then I'd be like, hey, what's up with that? And then he'd be like, man, I got a DNA test and I found out she's not my child. You know what I would say? Honestly, because it's the first thing that popped into my head. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry she did that. And I get it. Yes, he would be justified. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, but what about the fact that little baby loved him? That would have been all deception. And now her mama and me got to figure out a way to make her understand. At some point in her life, she got to understand that wasn't your daddy. He was tricked. Yes. Like you saying it like somehow because it would be my granddaughter that would make it okay. Ladies, it is wrong, bad, evil even to trick a man into believing that a child is his when you know or believe it's possible that it's not. I believe we should be doing DNA testing as soon as babies is born. I believe it should be some sort of law now. Now that we have the technology to do it, baby born, swab, swab, swab. I don't care if you're married, whatever, whoever you say the father is, before we put his name on a birth certificate, do a DNA test. Period. So then that way, when that baby is born, we do the DNA test, I get the result. Now I get the right to make up my mind. Remember, we all about choice now, about choice and our reproductive rights and all that kind of stuff. Remember? So now I get to choose if this child ain't mine, if I want to be a part of this child's life. And I ain't got to wait 5 years. Emanuel's a lot of things, but consistent when it comes to his opinion is number one on his list. Oh. Mary says she know a man that happened to. I actually know a couple. I actually know a couple of guys. Women would be highly offended if you request a DNA test and y'all married. Victoria wants to know who hurt you. Why I gotta be hurt? See what I'm saying? That's the excuse. That's part of the whole excuse making and all that kind of stuff. So because I believe women should be honorable, somebody had to hurt me? Again, I never experienced that particular thing, but I think it's evil. Victoria, who have you tricked? Who have you tricked? That you think it's okay? Like, who have you tricked? Like, all six of my baby daddies ain't the real daddy, but they don't know, and it ain't hurting nobody. Like, who have you tricked that you think it's okay? I don't necessarily believe that you have, but that's kind of the same logic behind me saying women shouldn't be tricking men into believing they're the father when they either know that they're not or they're not 100% sure that they are. Who hurt you? Stop it. And, I know they would. I know they would, but I think it should happen. I think it should happen. Look, if my daughter didn't have some specific features that are just me, like even the nurse was like, because there's a certain way that her toes are shaped, and they were like, "Why's her toes shaped like that?" And I was like, "My toes are shaped like that," and they were like, "Oh, okay, well that makes sense," you know. Just it's certain small, this little stuff. Because like one of my toes kind of curve under the other toe, and it don't look as bad as I'm making it sound, but it's distinctive enough to be like, yeah, they're my toes. It was just, it was a couple of little things that I was like, yeah, that's me. Otherwise, I'd have been like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I might not have been like, I want a DNA test, but I would have gotten a DNA test. I would have gotten one. So I know that there are people, in particular women, who would be offended if you marry and your wife have a baby and you like, I want a DNA test. But that's why I don't even think it should be optional. I don't even think it should be optional. I just think it should be. Baby born. Who's the father? Well, that my husband is the father. All right. Open up. I mean, we swabbed you, swabbed the little baby. All right, let's go get this test. We're going to run DNA. Now, I want to sign it, but you can't sign it yet until this DNA come back and positively say that you are the father. Then you take it out the hands of the man anyway. He don't have a choice. Now, I know a lot of women wouldn't like that. Jerica says she wouldn't mind. She wouldn't be offended. Myosha says the same. If you ain't hoeing, you ain't got nothing to hide. Anthony say, man, how are some women who defended having a baby with a so-called lying deadbeat dog not defending this guy? Mary said, if the child was a grown man when they found out, Ancestry.com is bringing this out for a lot of children. All right. Victoria says, I've never tricked anyone, but women bash a lot. Women do bash a lot. I agree. They shouldn't. That's terrible. I'd be, Raven says, I'd be offended if my husband asked me for one, but if it was standard procedure at the hospital, I wouldn't care. They don't know us or our business. My husband not trusting me is a whole other issue. And I think that's how a lot of people view it. Like, I don't trust you. And I don't know that it's a I don't trust you thing. Is it? No, it's not a I don't trust you thing. It's just it's a human thing. It's a human thing. Why say try getting a prenup, let alone a DNA test. Horrible life if she agreed to do either. I would not be offended for a DNA if it's your child. Go get some Pampers. The answer you gave about your granddaughter should clear everything up, but somehow it won't. I know it won't. Are you saying that you have an extra toe? No. My little pinky toe, the little pinky toe, but then this toe kind of curves under like that. And it's again, it's not as bad as it seems. Emanuel, you ain't gonna win this argument with these women. You got some players on here sound like, yeah, and they don't know that that's what they sound like. Like, y'all are acting like it's okay to lie and trick a man. And then, hey, once the lie and the trick took, there ain't no takebacks. Like, no. If you lie and you trick a man into believing that he has a child that's not his, then he finds out it's not his fault that he disengages. It's your fault. You created a whole situation as the potentially lying, cheating woman. Emmanuel, finding out your child is not yours have you ready to kill something, especially if you raised that child for years. I could imagine. Hell yeah, it's a I don't trust you thing. It's not. Imagine hospital waiting rooms if they did spot DNA tests. Fathers would be tearing shit up. That's possible. I don't have web feet either. It's just one toe over the way that it just sits. Stop it. Brenda says, it is wrong. Do not trick a man into fatherhood. Andrea says, we are not condoning what the woman did. Yes, you are. Just looking at it from the kid's perspective. And even from the kid's perspective, the person you should be upset with is the mama, because the mama put the kid in this situation. The mama put the kid in this situation. So even looking at it from the kid's perspective, the mama is to blame. Like, there's not everything in the world the woman is to blame, okay? A lot of things women get a bad rap on. But in the case where there's a chance that he's not the father, or you know he's not the father, and you make him, lead him to believe, tell him that he is the father, everything bad that comes out of that situation is the woman's fault. You can't be mad at the person who was the victim for being the victim and for reacting as a victim. He is the victim, along with the child. These are the victims. And yeah, DNA testing. You're not going to get the results for a few days. So it ain't going to be up in the delivery room, wrecking the delivery room, Wyatt. You're not going to get the results for a few days. But then once you get those results, then you got a decision to make. Okay, this is not my child. What do I do? Do I raise this child or do I not raise this child? I'm going to raise this child. This is my child. You still can't sign the birth certificate because you're not the biological father, but you can be the father. You might, I don't know exactly, like adopt the child maybe, because you the stepfather, maybe if y'all married, you the stepfather. Maybe you can adopt the child, and then once you make that decision, you bound. That's it. Decision made. It's all done. She didn't trick you. You knew. Us as men supposed to take everything on the chin and accept it, I guess. That's what they putting out there. We also have 7 of us, the same mom and dad. I was called high yellow dog. It was hurtful, but I always loved my mom. I am who I am. Just call me lollipop all day, sucker. I can't believe that the women on here are blaming the man. You're blaming the man for having feelings. Because that's really what you're doing. How dare he have feelings? How dare he not want to be misused? What the hell? He been used for 5 years. Why can't he just be used for the next 16? What the heck? What is wrong with men? How do y'all not want to be used? Lied to, deceived, tricked? What is wrong with y'all? Man, y'all need to do some work on y'all selves if you don't want to be. Like, come on, y'all. Come on. But all right. Tria says, what don't you agree with, Tria? What do you not agree with? I was about to go, but I saw I don't agree. And I want to have an understanding. Why are you surprised that the women on here blaming the men? That's what they do. That's why they lonely. I don't know if that's why they lonely. I don't know if that's why they lonely. It does seem to be one of the things that they do. Carolyn says, I didn't know you were back. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Tria says, I agree with you. Men should be pissed when that happens. See, Carolyn, I told y'all I would be back today. I try to be a man of my word. And let me see. Jerica asked, what if it was your grandchild? She got dropped off at school because her daddy found out that he wasn't actually the daddy. And again, I would be mad at my daughter. I would be furious at her. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't, berate her so much. But we would have to have a conversation. Because I would explain to her, how important the role of a father is in the life of a child. And so why would you do something that deceptive? We would have a long conversation about it. Multiple conversations. I'm sure it would go multiple conversations. Because it's so wrong and so disrespectful. Billy says, I ain't accepting or adopting Ish. I'm out. The afternoon experiment conversations are too much like lunchroom conversations at Tuskegee that split along gender lines. Hilarious and enlightening. The other puzzling part is no other family member wanted to take him. And I'm pretty sure that that would be like his family. I'm not 100% sure because they didn't specify, but I'm pretty sure that that was his family probably that they were reaching out to. Don't ask me why I come to that conclusion, but I think that was his family that they were reaching out to. And that makes sense that nobody would. If you tell me, hey, your brother found out that a child that he thought was his wasn't his, and he decided to step out of that child's life. You want to come and get this child? Hold on, the child that's in no way, shape, or form now related to me? Do I want to come and get him? No. He don't want to have nothing to do with the child anymore. Why would I come and pick him up? What I'm gonna do with him, other than take him back to him? Because I don't want to. That child is in no way, shape, or form related to me. No. So yeah, that makes sense to me. Jerica says we understand. A sore that will never heal right. Scab never dries up. Be real from the start and let him make the decision. Right. Can we be together when we open the results at the hospital? I don't know that might. How would you do that? I would say, yeah, open them together. Actually, I would say let her decide. Let her decide whether or not y'all gonna open the results, whether y'all get the results together. Let the woman make that decision. Yeah, I like that. Let the woman make the decision. Because if she know that there's a chance that it's not yours, she probably ain't gonna want to open that envelope or find those results together. She probably gonna be like, well, tell us separately. Let us be in separate rooms. That might be a hint. And then even if it turns out that you were, now at least you know that there was a chance. Because when you think about it, what would the only reason that you would say we don't want to find out together is if there's a chance that he not the father. But if there's no chance, like you've been 100% faithful, you ain't been with no other man, there's no other way that anybody else could possibly be the child's father, you're like, no, let's find out together. Yeah, show us, reveal to us the truth together. But if you like, ooh, it was that one dude, and then the other dude, it could be, why don't we just find out in separate rooms? So let her decide. Then, like I say, even if you find out, hey, I am the father, you like, yeah. But why do we have to find out in separate rooms? Yeah, I like that. I like that. But all right, y'all, I got to get ready to get out of here. My time is up. Don't forget you can catch Wyatt live, 5 o'clock. I believe he's doing the show today. He hadn't told me that he wasn't. So you can catch Wyatt live. And I thought it wasn't about trust. It's not about trust. That's why you let her make that decision. It only becomes about trust when there's some reason for it to be about trust. Like we together, I don't not trust you. You don't not trust me. We doing this DNA test. Hey, yeah, let's find it out. Open up the paper together. There ain't nothing to be concerned about. It only becomes about trust when, well, I don't want us to both be in the same room when we find out. Well, okay, now we got a trust issue. But all right, y'all. Check out Wyatt, 5 o'clock. I appreciate everybody for coming back in and finding me today. I'll be here tomorrow and then next week as normal. Now, there is going to be a week, but I'll let y'all know in August when I'm going to be in Columbus for a show. But I'll let y'all know the dates on that. But until then, I expect to be here. Maybe one day next week I won't, because I think I'm gonna take the little baby to the Children's Museum. I think I'm gonna take her down to the Children's Museum and just spend the day with her down there. But I'm not sure which day. I had to feel it. I had to feel it. So I'll just post. Typically, I post it on Facebook. I don't really have a way to post it on YouTube, but I'll post on Facebook that I won't be here because of that little baby. And hey, from time to time, I'm gonna not be here because of that little baby. Gotta go do stuff with her. But until tomorrow, 1 o'clock, I hope something amazing happens in your life today. My name is Emanuel Livingston. This has been the Afternoon Experiment. I'm out, y'all. Peace.